3, 2, 1.
And now, Quiplash 3. Quip Don't Lie. Schmitty's my name, and you will grow to curse me. All set? Oh yeah, hey, if you're not playing, you can still get in the audience and vote. Put in the room code to join. Round 1 is on deck. I'm going to flash 2 prompts on your device. Type something ingenious that will stand up against another player's response. Then everyone will vote for their fave, and one of you will get an ego boost. Points are scored based on the percentage of people who choose your response. Let's quip! Let's do this! Starting off, the name of a clown you would not hire for your 6-year-old's birthday party. Okay, time to choose. And next is a terrible model name for a self-driving car. Decisions, decisions. Choose your favorite. Next, dear science, stop already. We know enough about blank. Okay, everybody, pick your favorite quip. Next on the docket, a terrible last name if your first name is Dick. Here's the fun part. Pick your favorite quip. Let's see the next one. An architectural landmark you find weirdly attractive. All right, people, it's voting time. Oh, I'll never forget you, round 1, but now it's time to look at the scores. I see round 2 in your future, where points will be doubled and stakes will be higher. It's go time! At the front of the line is a lyric you will never hear in a punk rock song. Okay, pick one. And now, shoplifting would drastically decrease if malls introduced blank. Now it gets real. Pick your favorite. Next one up. The best way to keep someone from sitting next to you on a bus. All right, choose your favorite. Okay, what's next? The only thing worse than watching blank is watching it in slow motion. Time to pick the one you like best. Let's see how they handle the name of a newspaper that only reports on sexy crimes. Okay, choose your favorite. We're 2/3 of the way there. Let's see where you stand. Get ready for Thriplash, where all quip roads lead. I'm going to send each of you a prompt that requires 3 separate responses. Don't screw it up, okay? Hey, we have an odd number of players, so you get the honor of competing against me. Let's see what you've done. 3 things you always forget when you leave the house. And now pick your favorite. Well, great job. The 3 stages of life are simply all right, vote for the one you like best. Three things you should never stuff a taco with. And now it's time to vote for your favorite. Take a deep breath and behold the final scores.
Welcome to Talking Points. What an esteemed group of speakers we have here. Didn't I see you at TalkCon last year? Let's do this. First, you're going to create original speech titles for each other. On your devices, finish the 3 speech titles you've been given. Fill in the blanks with something unexpected. Have fun with it. Don't forget, you have multiple titles. Really nice work. Now, pick one of the titles that has been sent to your device. This will be the title of your presentation. Okay, good. You will be the first speaker, and you will be their assistant. What exactly are you going to be doing? Excellent question. As the speaker, you will be presented with a series of slides chosen by the assistant. When you see a text slide, read that text out loud as part of your talk, and move on quickly. When you see a picture slide, just say words until something makes sense. Also, you can draw and type on slides. These slides will be picked in real time by the assistant. You should always be busy using your controller to set up the next beat of the speech. You'll see the text and picture options that could follow it. If you don't think the setup text fits the direction of the speech, tap it forward or back to get new options. All speeches will follow this exact structure. Quick personal intro, speech title, picture, text segue, picture, text segue, picture, thank you. Meanwhile, everyone else reacts to the speech in real time. Points aren't just based on value. How many times you hit the button is just as important. So hit them a lot. That's it. It'll be over before you know it. Assistant, go ahead and start picking that first picture. And speaker, don't forget, you're in charge of advancing the... Okay, so half of your score comes from engagements. You know, how many times people hit buttons. And the other half comes from the peaks and the valleys of the graph, the qualitative judgments. Put it together, and that's your score. And of course, some points for the assistant. While the speech is still fresh in your mind, let's fill out the comment card. Write something funny the speaker said, or just anything you took away from the speech. Next speaker, you're up. Let's take a look at the chart. Comment card time. Next speech. The data is coming in. Put it in the comments. Next in line, let's see how you did on a graph. Leave a comment at the card. You're on. Let's look at the graph. Say what? Save it for the comments. One last bit of prep before the award ceremony. Come up with a funny name for the big award you'll give out at the end. What event doesn't have a slideshow to remember all the incredible speeches you heard moments ago? Roll that footage. And now, the moment of truth. Each of you has one last big award to give out, and that includes the audience.
Flying Sigil. We can summon the Stoat and use one of our squirrels in a bottle to summon a wolf to give us a total of 4 damage too. After the scale's back at neutral, we can clear his cards and win on the following turn. Then we encounter one of 2 scripted losses in this game, so unfortunately all we can do is minimize our scale damage. Since even if we try to deal 4 or more damage, Leshy will summon a field full of bears, and remember that everything being scripted before this means we can't possibly make a deck to counter this. The reason 4 damage triggers this instead of 5 is because then you can win on your next turn with pliers, which tips the scale 1 damage to the right. So yeah, they thought of everything. The reason you have to lose here is that this is a candle tutorial that demonstrates that you have 2 candles per map and each represents 1 life. It also introduces the mechanic of standing up. What's next, touching grass? While we're up, we can grab things and complete small puzzles for rewards. All we can do on our first run is blow out a candle and change the clock to 11 for a ring. Then we get to our first campfire, which usually randomly has the option to increase health by 2 or attack by 1, but this one always increases attack, so we power up our Stoat to make it even better on turn 1, which helps with the first boss. These have 2 phases, so we have to beat them twice. The first phase of the Prospector isn't that threatening with our powered up Stoat, and we can just draw from our deck until he loses to it. He always kills our cards and replaces them with unsacrificable gold nuggets, which is another reason not to summon many cards in the first phase. We have enough room to simply summon a wolf for the victory. After beating a boss, you have a choice between 3 rare cards. We have to see either Strange Larva or Uriuli to even have a chance at beating the next boss. Even then, Strange Larva will likely make us lose, since it takes 2 turns to evolve into a 7-3 with flying, but before that it's a 0-3, which not only is a do-nothing card for those turns, meaning we likely have to sacrifice scale damage tipping our way, but it's also a 1-cost card, so we'll open with it instead of the Stoat to decrease our odds of winning even more. Luckily, we find Uriuli, so we make our way onto map 2 with high hopes. From here, things aren't scripted anymore, so my tips are going to be more general. I still avoid 1-blooded cards and thin the deck while making bad cards decent to reduce bad hands. I also want to use all my items so I can pick up 3 new ones, since we're going to need the scissors or the hourglass to beat the next boss. We also encounter a mandatory trapper who puts a near useless rabbit pelt into my deck, and I can choose to spend my teeth on other pelts if I want. In this case, I decide to buy a golden pelt and a wolf pelt since the trader is only 1 combat away. The first item spot I go to offers the hourglass, so I don't have to worry about going to another one, and pick up 2 goats which synergize with my deck very well. The last basic combat of the map showcases another important part of our general strategy, in that we should always try to maximize our damage to prepare for upcoming summons from Leshy. So instead of putting the Stoat in front of the egg to kill it next turn, I put him in front of the Kingfisher since he flies over the Stoat and hides on my turn for the Stoat to attack directly, while blocking this lane from summoning any other opposing cards. This pays off since on the next turn, Leshy will summon another Sparrow, which would have lost me the run had I not played it this way. I can just use one of my extra goats to get 2 cards out this turn and keep the battle in my favor. It's worth noting that we could have also just used a goat on my first turn, but I also don't want to waste items if they aren't necessary. Once we make it to the angler, we have to stall until we draw and play Uriuli. For the first 2 turns, I can stall with my 2-attack Stoat against his 2 1-attack Kingfishers. The angler also steals the most recently played card every other turn, so for that, just play a squirrel as usual. But once he has 3 damage on board, things get a little more complicated, since if you block an attack with a squirrel, he'll steal something else instead. I can just place a squirrel in front of the frog to block 1 damage, and then play another squirrel in front of a Kingfisher for him to steal and equalize our damage again. Now we can draw 1 card from our main deck and then 1 squirrel to keep him in the loop of stealing a squirrel while we find Uriuli. Even if we run out of squirrels by the time we draw Uriuli, we had a goat in a bottle to summon him too. Fortunately, we drew him early so we can save the goat, but we'll still need the hourglass to skip his turn since phase 2 will summon 8 hecking bears! Since we use the hourglass, Yuri kills one bear and the angler is obligated to pass so he doesn't summon the bear behind it, and we can attack directly for 7 damage to finish the fight. I run into an item space right away and unfortunately don't get offered scissors or the hourglass, so I probably should have used my black goat on the boss, but we'll run into another item space later. Black goats are still useful in regular combat since it synergizes so well with Child 13 and we can prevent combats where Leshy would otherwise overwhelm us. Since our next boss fight is against the Trapper, Moosebuck and Alec are really good with their movement sigils, so I picked them up along the way. We ended up needing the second goat too since Leshy did the classic Turkey Vulture and Mole combat. Fortunately, we can block the next card by attacking in the same lane it would summon in, for the mole to jump in front of the attack and buy us enough time to win. Leshy decides to give us one of the worst combats again, so we're down another item. The Moosebuck pays off right away against the Trapper since it kills one strange frog while blocking an attack from another. Next turn it kills that one and blocks the bullfrog to mostly pacify this fight to allow me to draw Yuri and enough cards to sacrifice for it. The leaping traps have the unique property of preventing overkill damage from damaging a card behind it, so if my Moosebuck attacks here, I'll be forced to take damage from the adder. Instead, I can sacrifice the moose and summon a wolf in a lane with a leaping trap, so I don't advance to the next phase yet. We can use the pelts here since the second phase is replaced with bears. Now we can summon Yuri and use the scissors on the bear in front of him for the 7 damage direct attack. We'll pick up more items since we only have one fight left, and the ring we picked up allows us to always pass the ring trial. We're looking for the boon that lets us draw twice, and or the boon that lets us pick which card we draw each turn, and this time we only get to draw twice, but that's still really good. The final fight is 3 phases, but the first and second one are the scariest, since Leshy summons a lot of strong cards in the first, and after 2 turns pass in these phases, he'll use a previous boss mechanic and always starts with the Prospector's attack that kills all my cards and replaces them with gold nuggets. We can cut the Mole Man who blocks attacks and end the phase with a wolf and Child 13. In the next phase we can use the hourglass to skip it and end on the easiest phase with a 0 attack moon thanks to my stinky wolf. That sounded weird. This phase is the easiest either way since he no longer copies previous boss gimmicks and only has 1 attack even if it attacks all my cards. We also have poison to style on Leshy even more. That completes Act 1's first run. It doesn't matter how many times you beat Leshy right now, I tested by winning like 18 times in a row and nothing. The second run introduces the bone mechanic and knife, which is a necessary item for progression since it lets us replace our eye with Magnificus's eye to reveal the answer to a puzzle. It's also one of those puzzles where even if you know the right answer, it doesn't work until you're told it, unfortunately. And Magnificus's eye never spawns until you've lost at least 1 run after the first one. My guess is that the game wants you to make a death card, so this is our other forced loss. But don't worry, we've still got something interesting in this run. Since we only have 2 lives normally, we actually want to lose at the first boss, since boss fights blow out our extra candle for the smoke card. I slightly misplayed in the first fight since I forgot to use all my items to potentially find better ones ahead. After that we can do some more puzzles by standing up to better prepare for the next run. We pick up the stink bug, blow out another candle, and complete some puzzles without picking up the first 2 rewards yet since you can only pick them up once, and ants suck without a dedicated deck to them. The caged wolf is needed for progression, and the squirrel totem is amazing in the next run. Since I'm only worried about getting to the first boss, I don't have to worry about future ramifications of my choices by avoiding sigil extractors and campfires in favor of more items. The opossum in our starter deck and coyote we're coerced into picking up makes our deck in this run pretty bad, so we are relying on items pretty heavily in general for blocking attacks, or even using the hourglass for a little damage and extra draw. This makes our deck awful, but we made it back to the Prospector. We can summon the caged wolf for the cage to get destroyed and then immediately lose to progress the game onto the final run of Act 1. The bone cards in my deck actually help here since my death card is a 2-bone 3/2, which is just a better version of opossum and coyote. I choose not to pick up the knife right away since it's an extremely powerful item that I want to save until necessary and still takes up an item slot. Since it's the 3rd run, we can put out the last candle for the upgraded smoke card. I pick up the Skink since it's already a great card on its own and has even better potential synergies. When picking between tribes for random cards, I like to go with Canine for safe high damage dealing cards, or Reptile for powerful synergies. We want to avoid birds since flying is unreliable in this challenge, and again, insects have ants. The Squirrel Totem is about to come in handy since it can give our squirrels a sigil, which can have insane synergies like Unkillable or Fecundity, or Fledgling is okay I guess. I get really unlucky with my totems, where after 4 totem spaces, the best synergy I have is Stinky Canines. Luckily, I do find my death card though. Greater Smoke is an amazing card for boss fights, as it's a free 1/3. For the Prospector specifically, it survives an attack against Coyote and takes it out to help us not get overwhelmed. For a rare card, we don't have to pick Strange Larva since the too soon mechanic won't trigger this run, and we can just pick Mantis God. Always pick Mantis God. I mean, not really. It's just the meme. Like, sometimes he's not the pick. But like, so he's pretty good though. We immediately get the option to pick an unkillable card and extract its sigil onto something else. I picked the Skink since its tail will also inherit unkillable once he sheds it. And here's some rare footage of Bullfrog being useful. After visiting the Trapper and adding 2 dead draws to my deck, I decided